What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to The Breakdown. This is a series where I analyze subscriber gameplay to help you improve. In today's episode, we're going to be breaking down a team deathmatch gameplay on the map Fringe from Dark Sky Slayer. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's start it off with the class that he decided to use. We've got the VMP with Quick Draw, Long Barrel, Fast Mags, and Stock, and then we've got Hardwired as well as Fast Hands for perks. Now, I could be wrong on this, but it looks like this class was taken directly from the Mark of J. And I'm just going to go based on that assumption here. This looks exactly like a class that he would use. And I know it works really well for the Mark of J, but there's a couple little changes I would make to this class that would work better for you and your personal playstyle. What works for one person may not work quite as well for other people. And as a lot of us know, we aren't at the same skill level as the Mark of J. We can't do what he does. And therefore, there is one big change I would make to this, and that is I would drop one of your attachments and take a few extra perks. Fast Hands and Hardwired are both excellent perks. I definitely recommend keeping those on, especially in something like Team Deathmatch. They're great perks to have. But I would drop something like Long Barrel, for instance. I don't think Long Barrel helped you, or at least I don't think Long Barrel made the difference between a winning gunfight and a losing gunfight at all throughout this whole gameplay. Not even a single time. In a highly competitive environment, yes, I would definitely recommend something like Long Barrel on the VMP, but in public matches, I just feel like it doesn't make that difference very often. Whereas if you were to take that off, it opens up 2 extra points for your class because you're also using a wild card on that extra attachment, and you could be spending it on something like Flak Jacket, or Tac Mask, or Dead Silence, or Awareness, or Blast Suppressor. So many of these perks that are going to be helping you very, very consistently, rather than that one attachment that may help you out in like 1 in every 50 gunfights or 1 in every 100 gunfights or something along those lines. So that's just my personal take on this class. I could be completely wrong. Maybe this is a class that you came up with by yourself and it is what's working for you and what you like to use, but those are just my personal recommendations. Overall, it's not a terrible class by any means. Alright, so let's get into the gameplay here. One thing I noticed throughout the whole gameplay is this person is always aiming down sight and getting ready for enemies in that way. Always pre-aiming, coming around corners, which is excellent, especially when combined with stock, so that's great. There is a little bit of a change that I'd like to make to that gameplay, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Right here, I love how he backs off, he's patient with that guy, he lets that guy run into his sights, and he gets the kill. But right after that situation, now that other enemy has 2 potential options to get to him, and he doesn't know which option that enemy's going to take. Is he going to come window, or is he going to come door? And he's got himself positioned in a way that that enemy can get at him very, very easily from either direction. The smartest move here is either to rush and be aggressive and try and take that enemy off guard, or back off a little bit and limit the angles that that enemy has so that they don't have 2 options to come from you. They only have that one option. So either if they come through the window or the door, doesn't matter. They're still coming to you from the exact same direction, and you can handle that situation a whole lot easier. Instead, you just kind of stood there, you picked one, and you did pick right, but you also got stunned and everything, and it didn't work out so well for you. Skipping ahead a little bit right here, I love that you use this piece of cover here. This just shows that you have that map awareness, and you know where the good lines of sight are and everything. It's not like you were camping here all game, but you did have that little bit of patience. You knew an enemy was going to be coming from there. And this is one thing I really like about your gameplay, is you're always aiming down sight, you're using stock to your advantage, you're checking your angles, and you're coming around corners with your sights up, which allows you to win gunfights like that. Now, right here, this is what I really want to talk about with this gameplay. It's one of the reasons I chose this gameplay, because I really wanted to cover this topic, because I see a lot of people approaching situations improperly here, and just one small adjustment to how you approach these situations would make a pretty big improvement to your gameplay overall. And the issue that I see here is the way you come around corners with your sights up. It's good you have your sights up when you come around corners, but it could just be a little bit better as to how you could approach it. So when you come in to a room or you're coming around a corner, you aim down sight and then you strafe around the corner. As you strafe around the corner, you're not tracking your aim fast enough. You're not keeping tight around that corner with your aim, so that if there is an enemy around that corner, you're not going to be on target right away. You're going to have to make your adjustment to get on target, and he can already see you at that point because your body is going in faster than your aim. So what you're doing here is you're swinging too wide with your aim. I'll show you what he's doing, and then I'll show you what I would do in that same situation. So you'll notice his aim is quite a bit over to the left. He's not quite tracking into that corner as he comes through that doorway. So he's not getting that instant line of sight on the enemy where he's bang on, like just ready to pull the trigger on that enemy. He's still got some adjustment to do after he sees the enemy. And this is something that is completely in his control because he's the one that's coming around the corner and putting that pressure on the enemy. So as you come around the corners with your sights up, keep tight to that corner that you're coming around where you're aiming. And therefore, the moment that you see the enemy, all you have to do is pull the trigger. There's no adjustment needed whatsoever. I see this happen several times throughout the gameplay. And like I said, it's just one of those very minor things where if you were to do this more often, if you were to approach these situations like this more often, it would actually help you win quite a few more gunfights and your gameplay overall would improve fairly significantly. Skipping ahead quite a bit into the gameplay here, I really like how he handled this situation here. It shows a lot of patience. As he's coming around this corner, he sees that enemy's back. It would have been an easy kill. He would have been able to just start shooting. But if he wasn't patient here, he would have just been shot in the back by the guy that was coming in. And it seemed like he heard that guy boost slide just outside the door, because if you listen really closely here, you can hear that boost slide. So this is just a great example of that self-control and that patience. That other guy, he's got his back to him. He's completely oblivious at the moment. He can wait, and therefore he was able to pick up both of the kills instead of just the one kill and then being immediately shot in the back. So very good patience here. Really like how he handled that. Coming up right here is a great example of what not to do, and that is jumping out into the middle of the map, into the danger zone, without first checking out the situation. There's nothing wrong with ever going into the middle of the map. Sometimes that's a really advantageous thing to do, is to take control of that mid-map area, but he knows it's a danger zone, he knows it's out in the open, and he simply jumped out blindly and got himself killed. So whenever putting yourself into a potentially really dangerous situation, always scope it out first and see if it's something that you actually want to get yourself into. Skipping ahead a bit again, I really like this here. He got onto the enemy's flank and he's about to flank them in the house. He knows there's people up on the top floor of the house here. But one thing I would have done slightly different here is I would have hit that enemy in the back with the butt of my gun, which would have been a one-hit kill, and I wouldn't have had to fire an unsilenced gun while trying to be sneaky in the enemy's spawn. Like I said, pretty minor thing. It's just one thing to always be aware of. If you have that opportunity, take it when you're trying to be sneaky. So there we have it. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode of The Breakdown. I am still accepting submissions for this, keeping in mind that I am pretty far behind at this moment. I'm still working on gameplays that were submitted in May, so it will take a long time to get to the gameplays. If you do want to submit a gameplay to be analyzed in a future episode of this series, all you have to do is send a link to an unlisted raw gameplay, no commentary, no music, nothing like that, at least 720p in quality as well. Send that to the email address linked in the description below. And also, please put somewhere in the title, like The Breakdown or something like that. It just helps me sort them a whole lot easier and go through them, because I do get tons and tons of emails and submissions. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.